Sure.
All right, guys, welcome back to Selling Frankston. In today's episode, we're going to talk about sellers. If you walk through an open home, please be careful about what you say to buyers. Now, Dad, in a first game day.
Yes, it was a great game day on Saturday. Lots of activity, lots of people out and about, which is really good, which we sort of gauging from, previous, when we returned. I had a look at all the info. Numbers were, it's always positive when you come back.
We're not going to go straight. I'm not going to go straight into game day, but the game day energy is back. We're going to have our game day vlog come out, which will be very exciting. We're doing that today. So if you haven't followed that, that is one of our most exciting, very transparent way of trying to sell real estate.
And Josh came up with the idea. He said, Dad, I reckon this is going to be a real, stands us, separates us from and shows a lot more authenticity of how an agent operates on a day. So, you see some raw parts of how we go about it. I know
it's not all sunshine and rainbows, especially when you work alongside someone as old as you.
Oh, thanks, mate. Thanks for the clip. But
that was deliberate. It's a joke. It's a joke.
I get it.
You're good. Have some energy.
Hey, how's this? I was pretty happy. I got told I was your brother.
You've been told.
How good's that?
So I reckon I copped about 6 compliments on my 3-piece, which Dad stood out and said that I look like the guy from Stranger Things.
You did. You look like Henry from Stranger Things, and being a Stranger Things fan, I sort of reminded you a few times that you got the Henry.
But in light of that, 6 compliments on on the suit. I would say I had about 6 people say, "Oh, is that your older brother?" I'm like, and then I had a chat with a lady today, and they go, "Oh, I thought that was your older brother. Oh, you have to tell him that." I'm like, "No, we don't need to pump up the ego."
All you have to say is, "Hey, Dad was born and bred in Frankston and had his first child at 13." I'm pretty certain you would. It could be very believable.
Do people out there actually believe it? That is actually.
I know a few people that had kids in Frankston, went to school with, ages 15, 16. So, look, I was 19 when I had you.
You shouldn't have told. We should have asked them to guess how old was Dad, the Frankstonite. No. All right. We're going to do, so I watched this is very off topic. We're going to do something very different. Okay. So I watched Beast Games. Have you Mr. Beast?
Yeah, Mr. Beast. Yeah. No, about him.
Yep. So he does this thing where he does Beast Games. It's almost like a combination of Wipeout, Squid Games. I don't know, but they don't actually die. They just get eliminated. We're going to do a bit of game day trivia. We're going to talk about Saturday game day trivia. Sure. First question, and I'm going to read this out.
Okay.
What's the first thing buyers usually ask an agent at an open? A, price guide. B, how many people have been through the open? C, will they take offers prior to the auction? D, how long has it been on the market?
If it's an auction, that I would say lock in C.
Yep.
Would they take offers before an auction? The amount of time people say that, huge.
Why do you reckon that is? Do you reckon they're just trying to not compete on the auction day?
They prefer to sort of gently nudge in and say, hey, look, we'd like to put an offer forward. That's always the way that some of them don't want to compete, which is fair enough.
It's a subtle way of saying I'm interested,
but
I'm not going to just reveal all my cards.
And that is one of the things that people will say we can quickly gauge as to where they're at in terms of, are they a really hot buyer that's going to be bidding on the day, or are they just sitting on the fence? So it's a really good guide.
Question 2.
Sure.
Which room changes? I need like the
suspense.
$1 million. I need the suspense.
You need to put
music. I need like some like. I'm not going to do that.
Don't do it.
Which room changes a buyer's mood the quickest? A, the kitchen. B, main bedroom. C, the living area. Or D, the bathrooms.
Kitchen,
the heart of the home.
Heart of the home, the epicenter of the home, where if you're a European family background, I know I've got a European background, but my mum, being English Irish, she would cook up a storm, and we loved the food, and at our home we're no different. Hence why I'm about 25 kilos over my playing weight.
So what's my excuse then? Gotcha. No,
well, you've got a good metabolism, but wait a couple of years and it's going to slow up.
You know what's funny? I put the suit on Saturday, and I reckon
you were bursting?
the 3 Ps around the hips are real tight.
Oh, geez,
it's
Josh.
a fitted suit. So
Once you hit that 3-0, I reckon, well, once I stop playing footy, 30.
I'm going to make a
30?
challenge to that because I am looking to compete in a competition by October. So once I hit 30, I should be like as lean as I ever have been in my whole adulthood.
Well, I'll keep
I can't
you
compete when
to
I'm
that.
16 years old. I was at the
Let's see, guys out there. Hopefully, Josh can be.
wait and see.
We'll wait and see. Wait,
All right.
watch your space. Yep.
Question 3. This is the last final question. What's the most common thing buyers say after leaving an open? A, we'll have to have a think about it. B, it's not for us. C, we've got some other homes to view. D, I actually quite like it.
I reckon, depending, if I would say, you know how many people, if you're statistically going through that, I would say it's not for me, because generally speaking, you know, we could average, our average is, 12 groups through the homes. You would say 2 people are pretty keen. On average, 10 groups will say, yeah, it's not for us.
How many people do you reckon actually do have interest but just try not to show that in front of the agent?
There's a few that go out there and do that. We've seen that. I actually had a guy who was complaining about how an agent down the road and, pointed out the board and slagged off the opposition, that he didn't give him a call to put in an offer. And I basically said to him, well, firstly, did you, indicate to the agent that you are interested? And he said, probably, he was sort of really wishy-washy. And he said, well, I didn't really indicate that I wanted to make an offer. And I said, well, he's no mind reader. So secondly, did he give you a call? He said, yeah, he gave me a call, left a message. And I said, so did you call him back? No. So what an absolute tool this bloke is. I'm sorry to say this, but I said to him politely, look, if it was me, I think he's done everything he has. He's crossed off, dot the I's, cross the T's. He's given you an opportunity. If you've disclosed to him face to face and said, I'm not interested, but you really were, my advice would be not to do that. So if you're at this property, what's your thoughts on this one? And he said, it's not for me. And I said, are you in or are you out? Because I need to know.
It's interesting. So when someone says, is it not for me? I always ask them, is it the price?
Yeah.
Is it the property?
Yeah.
Is it location? What is it? Because you need to establish
Absolutely.
that. Because then, you can help them with any other properties.
Yeah.
But I do think it's quite funny when you almost have that good cop, bad cop scenario where one person will walk in, the wife
You'll
will
have
really
the
like
wife,
it.
the dad, and you'll find the dad will be the one with the arms crossed. There's a lot of psychology behind it when as a buyer. So you don't want to give too much off, but as in, letting your guard down a bit too much. But I think it's really important, if you are interested in a home, to do your research, find out how the offer process is. Just so you know, for all those buyers out there, every agency runs a different process. So how one agency runs it, to a franchise, to a smaller, boutique office, you've got to just be guided by the agent. So if you're not being open and transparent with that agent, well then, if you miss out, bad luck, that's on you, not on the agent. That's how I see it. Anyway.
I heard in the US it's so different. Like they don't do any auctions. It's so weird.
Yeah, they do auctions, only foreclosures. So when it's
very
banks.
different. Yeah, when a bank's involved, they have to do that. But it's so different because the agent then very well and truly does actually control that whole entire process from start through to finish.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know. I feel like auctions are the most traditional way to sell something.
Well, it's interesting. If you had, how good would it be if there was auctions over in the US? Because a lot of the US brokers, they can work for the buy. They get they can
charge both sides.
They charge
buyer
both sides.
and a seller.
So I think it's 6.6%.
Yeah,
that
it's
they charge.
ridiculous.
It's ridiculously high.
You get us so cheap.
Yeah.
Just an FYI on that.
Compared to what, you got some agents out here that are just dropping their pants.
And think about how expensive the houses are here compared to over there.
The medium house price over there, and some of them are 10, 12 mil. So, but getting back to the I know what you're saying.
I was like, what are you doing?
I know what you're doing, Josh. The point with regards to being a broker, imagine those auctions down there, you'd have half the room full of brokers looking to bid because they know, okay, well, it's on the market. But I think here in Australia, it's predominantly been a really big, strong way of selling in Sydney and Melbourne, the biggest hubs. We're also starting to see that in Queensland, and that's been a case of a lot of people moving from New South Wales, Victoria over the last 5 years since COVID. They've all sort of migrated up north, and a lot of the agents there are sort of trying to accommodate the way they purchased and sold over the years. So we're certainly seeing more and more auctions up north, but down here, the peninsula is pretty rife. We've got some fantastic auctioneers along the Bayside Belt. And
how important is having an internal auctioneer?
Super important. Very super. I think it's a massive advantage having an in-house auctioneer that's just servicing your clients.
Well, think about it, right? You've priced everything around an auction campaign, right? Every little bit of the process has been for that auction day.
Yep.
The last thing you want to do is send out an auctioneer who has no idea about the property, no idea about the area, and has no understanding of the campaign and the buyers in the crowd. Having an internal auctioneer, you actually and an agent who's on your door, which is what you do.
Yep.
You're actually calling these buyers by name. I know we gallivant on about it, but it is such a value add, and it shows with our results.
It's huge. It's like I say to people sometimes, look, you'll have it's like coaching a footy side, right? So you've appointed a coach, and then come to the biggest day, which is the big dance, the grand final, and the coach decides to, you've appointed him at the start of the very start of the year, and then he just disappears.
Yeah.
And he's got someone else, nowhere near as experienced, all of a sudden is guiding this team. They get to the last dance, and then the guy pops in and, hasn't even really – actually, you know what? That's a bad analogy. The coach, he's going to be the biggest player on the dance on the big day.
100%, because he knows how to maneuver the players.
He's going to be the one
to the buyers.
Correct. So he's in charge of the buyers on game day, and yet he hasn't even started the season, been with throughout the whole process. He just rocks up 5 minutes before the game starts, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm here. I'm going to really make it good for you." That to me is.
It's a big gamble.
It's a big gamble, absolutely.
It's a big risk.
Don't get me wrong. If the auctioneers perfectly ran the process and it's in a buoyant market, any auctioneer can come in and make a fantastic and do a really, really good job.
Great point to make.
That's a caveat there I'd like to make point. But when the markets do turn, having an auctioneer that's coming down, they'll just take their money and run, which is fair enough. They'll call the auction, say hello to the owners, they'll meet and greet, tell them, hey, what are you wanting on the day? And then, look, we'll try and do that. They go out. If they don't achieve it, they'll come back and say, look, you priced too high. Mm-hmm. Thanks very much. See you later. Hop in their, Mercedes, BMW, and off they go. And then then you're left with the agent who is sort of sitting there going, well, yeah, I think you might need to drop your price.
So their job's to be an order taker, essentially. Yes, they're trying to create a bit more, hey, time is of the essence. They're trying to do that, and that's what a good auctioneer will do. But the difference is you're on the door. You care about your client's result.
Well, there's
and it matters. Your reputation's on the line for the actual sale in that marketplace.
Well, the difference is that there's a lot of auctioneers that are in-house.
I hope you're not planning on getting an out-of-town auctioneer, because I've just screwed our chances.
No, I'm actually looking to recruit.
Sorry.
I'm looking to recruit. We're looking to recruit. But the great thing is, I would say, having an in-house auctioneer, it just helps from even just vendor meeting with the client, the leading up to the week of the big dance, and you're sort of strategizing, not just with the listing agent, but the auctioneer. So the auctioneer knows, okay, well, that's what you're sort of wanting to achieve. We'll work in with you. And
you put a bit of a game plan together for everyone. It's not just a throw it on the market, see how it goes. Hopefully the market conditions are great and there's enough buyers out there to just bid on the day. You actually have a very clear process. We're getting feedback from all the buyers leading up to the auction. So we've got a lot more certainty. And then you're running the owners through that process.
You're running through that process. And I think the most important thing is, look, when a lot of clients, and look, I don't know where it came from, but many, many years ago, I remember working for a big franchise, and they basically said, even if you didn't have any buyers, tell the client, hey, we've got heaps of buyers, and then you get to the day and you know, these people have got all their friends, they got champagne flowing in the backyard, they're looking ready to go, and then the auction's an absolute fizzer, and they are embarrassed because they were thinking that they were going to sell. Because the agent said that this is what's going to happen, and then all of a sudden it was a really good vehicle and a tool to be able to educate and try and condition, and condition's a word that in real estate they use to try and get, if an owner's expectations too high, to get them lower. So that was one form of, hey, condition them.
Just on that, you would rather be, if you're a seller and you are putting your property on the market, your first 2 to 3 weeks in this day and age are super crucial.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
the way that purchasing properties become a lot more visible online, and you're not going to get a second chance at a first impression. So if you do go on, you have that sort of attitude where you're happy to start high and then crunch your price down, you're giving the buyers control. Essentially, that's what you're going to do. And you're just going to waste marketing money, auctioneering fees, auctioneer day. You'd rather actually smoke it out of the park, be realistic with your expectation, come in, like you said, and then not waste the opportunity.
Well, it's just having a process and working within the parameters that are there. Ultimately, whatever the owners want, we're governed by that on how we advertise the price. So
Correct.
I think it's important to understand, okay, let's market it here. We know quite comfortably based on recent sales, you're in that market thereabouts, and also talk about the pricing bracket. There's elements there that we could go into, Josh. I don't think it's
only people. If you're actually thinking of selling and you want to get us in, we can
sort of guide you. Yeah, we can go through. But
how to plug our business well. That was perfect. We're going to jump into the Saturday game day snapshot.
Yes,
we had 3 opens.
Yep.
We had 27 groups. So we had 9 groups on average. Are you happy with that level at this time of year?
Yeah, I am. Having looked back at my last 3 years, last year's average, we had 7 groups through. We did have 2 auctions that were scheduled that went on, and interesting enough, the last 3 years, auctions that we had penciled in for late Jan or very early Feb, the average on those numbers, believe it or not, it's hovering around 15 groups. So that gives you an indication that, you know, we had a really big, you know, great numbers at one of the properties that we're launching for auction this week. That just went.
Yep.
And last year we had 2 auction properties, and from memory, Warringah Road and I think it was Rosedale. Both of them had, you know, in excess of, you know, they had double figures.
I think Humphreys.
The year before that, there was another one. Yeah, I think Humphreys was
that the year? No. I don't know.
There was track. So I've looked back at our last sort of three years statistics, and interesting having a look at all those ones. The ones that really performed well coming out of Christmas, New Year were the auctions.
Well, an interesting stat for those out there: we average 48 buyer groups per campaign. It's a great stat. It's a great figure, and it just shows. I mean, if you're getting, you know, north of 40, you most likely get multiple offers.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we're going to go through and we had, which is good. We had a lot of contract requests. So that's shows a lot more
even the
quality.
ones that we had lower numbers on, we actually had, you know, it wasn't about the quantity, it was the quality of buyers. So
I think that'd be common. You know, a lot of people are still on holidays, but the people that are really serious, making a move or making a play, whether they're investing in moving into the home or actually investing as an investment, they're pretty serious buyers. Absolutely. If they're looking on Jan 10th, because there's a lot more things that they probably could be doing, spending time with family, doing all that stuff, but they've spent their Saturday out and about. So there's still a good amount of buyers out in the marketplace, which is great. Now, buyer tip. With artificial intelligence coming in, you have no idea what I'm going to talk about.
This is a good one.
Hopefully, it's pretty good. I actually use this. So if you do request a contract of sale in a Section 32 for that home, it has all the outgoings, has a bit of a summary, all the planning, zones, overlays, all that sort of stuff, the title, all relevant information. Now, sometimes a buyer will grab that document, give it to a conveyancer and get them to legally review it and make sure everything's okay in it. The best thing I say is if you just want a quick little summary, grab that document, put it into ChatGPT and get information out of it. So get the outgoings, how much are the council rates, if there's, you know, a block of units, get the body corp fee.
Get the key info. Yeah.
Get the key info because that is important. And what would you say would be one thing that if you were buying right now today,
Yep.
you would be most, not cautious, but most proactive with being a buyer?
I think with all the information we have handy now, it's funny. We've got all these big subscriptions that we're paying for, to know what it's worth. If you type in an address on ChatGPT and you say, look, I'd like to live on Humphreys Road, blah, 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 Frankston South, and can you please extract, this is, and it's already on the market with someone else.
Yeah.
It will give you a pretty good summary of where it sits within a 50.
I didn't want to give out everything. This is buy tip number one,
sorry.
all right?
Sorry. No, but that would be one of the things I'm advising client buyers to do. Getting back to the Chat GPT with regards to Section 32, I'd be asking questions if there's any overlays, if there's any restrictions, if there's any covenants on the area. And because they're able to pull so much out of the council information, it can actually give you some really good info that you may not be looking at. So,
well, if you're not aware of it as well, I mean, we always say you get your legal team to review the contract.
Absolutely.
That is first and foremost. There's a big caveat over all of this.
Please understand, and we'd like to take note, do your own research, but then also get it double checked by a legal representation. So what we are saying and advising, it's not, I wouldn't be saying to people,
I wouldn't take ChatGPT's advice
as gospel, because there are things that rules and regulations change, plannings change over that could be overlapping, and something new comes out that could be of significance if you're looking to purchase a block, and they may be doing something. So it's really important that you always seek legal representation. I know, and conveyances. We've got some great conveyances that we know, and we can certainly put you into the right sort of information.
Frankston has some amazing conveyances.
Absolutely.
There's some country towns that you go to and you're like, oh, what are we waiting for?
It's funny. The old adage, if you talk to a solicitor, and I'm not saying all solicitors do this, but solicitors, traditionally they take 2 weeks to get contracts and process. Some of the conveyances we deal with, as soon as you say, look, we'd like a 32, within 48 hours, you've got to, once they've sought instructions, open up a file for the client, bang, we have the 32 within 48, 72 hours. So some of the old timers that are in the rural sector, they could be taken up to 2 to 3 weeks. So, you can't sell a property without it.
I guess it is, and it makes sense. It's still so much slower out there, probably because of that reason. Selling acreage in country towns.
But also it comes back to the people,
Correct.
that the client ultimately, it's funny, we've had clients over the years where we've had people that wanted to transact right there and then. So what I mean by that, we do the open for inspection. We've already had it launched. Say we're on to our second open. So it's really been on the market 2 weeks online, but it's been on the market 2 weeks before that. So they had 4 weeks. They just didn't have the paperwork sent. They're just dragging their feet. And that could be, for whatever reason. But we've had to say, hey, guys, you really need to get this done. And they said, oh, I thought the conveyancers did this. And we're like, no, the conveyancers can't go get your, rates notice, your water title, all of the above. So you need to get these things in line. And we usually have that, that's part of our checklist when we sign up.
Yeah. Now we're going to go into the merch property of the week.
Yes.
We've got 5 to 7 Pamelia.
Oh, yeah.
In Frankston. So 1,425 square metre block on 2 titles. In the beautiful Frankston Heights area. Tell us a bit about that one.
That one there is quite a unique property. You don't get a block that is already been subdivided. So you've got 5, which is represented, I think it's 643 square metres, or 642 it is, sorry. And then you've got the number 7, which has got the dwelling and a swimming pool on there. Even though the pool's not in great order, there is a quote there of around $6,000-$7.
What do you mean? I was planning on taking a dip in it when it was the next hot day. I was going to go and see Ollie.
What, if you did that, you'd come out with the
I reckon fungi, I'd be bloody green, man.
You'd probably have to have a month off. But let me say, look, the existing house is good bones. It's 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, 3 living areas.
You renovate that?
Oh, you renovate that, and look, the great thing is we've got to go and auction the whole package, 1.1 to 1.2, and if you look at it, just around the corner in Melaleuca, there was one that just sold for $900 I think it was 925 for a 3-bed, 2-bath that was updated. This one is a 2-story home on 725 square meters. So let's say you were to just auction that as
It's a 4-bed, 3-bath.
4-bed, 3-bath.
Multiple living.
The car accommodation, there's just car space at the front because the current car accommodation, you got a 4-car garage and a 4-car carport on
The
block
other
5.
Yeah.
But even in saying that, would have to be between sort of as is, like 850 every day, very conservatively. If you spend some money on that property, and you would be able to sell that for sort of 1.2.
Yeah, comfortably.
1.2.
If you put 200 into that, or
Oh,
150.
150.
If you're in the trade and you can do it yourself,
Yeah.
you'll be laughing.
You'll be laughing. And then you got a block
And then you got a
on its own. So, blocks
And
of
there's
land.
one on Heather Hill going for 670.
670, yeah, and
600
smaller
square
block.
meter, yeah.
This one's in a quiet location. So let's say the block's worth 600. I think you're picking up, there's some real money and change in there. So guys, if from a property perspective, we got that auction the 31st of January this month at 12 o'clock. We have had, interesting over the weekend. We had some Asian buyers looking to buy down here that were coming from Brighton, Oakley, and we've also got some other buyers agents out there looking for people that are from interstate. So it goes to show that some of those buyers that are more affluent are seeing value. But if you're a large family, you want to upsize, this is a great one to do where you can actually make some good money in it.
Now, you've got some good properties I saw you listed last week. You got
Yep.
some nice new ones.
Yeah,
I know
we've-
you've just put one online as well.
Yep.
Can you just run us through just a little brief?
Just a quick
Anyone
brief,
out there that is looking to buy, just
Sure.
give me, I just want to know the specs of the house,
Yep.
the location. Give me like your biggest highlight about it and the price. That'd be nice.
Okay, so 3 Spring Street's just been listed for auction in March. It's getting, some not renovations, painting, the cosmetics. It's getting all dressed, ready to go. But that's a 3-bed, 2-bath. Land size off, I think, don't quote
It's
me.
okay. You don't have to.
It's approximately 395 square metres. In terms of location, can't get any better. Tucked away just off High Street, wedged between High Street and William Street. Right opposite, you've got Victoria Park, which is
That's a great spot.
It's a great spot. Walking distance to the beach, minutes away from the CBD, and that's a ripper.
New hospital's opening Jan 20 as well. They
Yep.
released their little sneak peek, so that helps that property.
That helps it massively. The other property that I listed was
Wait, what was the price?
that one.
Do you have
has
can you release the guide?
I'll release it. I could release it now, 975 to 1050.
Yep.
The other property that I've got, which is an acreage property, it's more of a lifestyle property. This one's got the main residence. It's a 2-story home. It's got 3 living areas. It's been fully renovated. It's a brand new kitchen. It's got 3 bathrooms. It's got an inbuilt sauna inside. It's got the rumpus room, huge decking, in-ground pool, huge pergola, and also a big man cave. And then on top of that, it's got its own habitual dwelling, a 2-bedroom. It's got a kitchen, double-car garage, bathroom, all included. And then you've got shedding, all on a flat block of, 2.5 acres. And that's in Langwarrin South, coming very soon.
It sounds like a cracker.
2.4 to 2.6 is the
guide.
is the price guide.
Yep.
And we've got another 2 more to come on, but I'll touch on that next week.
Yeah.
New listing that's just been launched is the one at 641A Nepean Highway, Frankston South, Oliver's Hill location. We've listed that for auction at 1.5 to 1.6, and that's a 4-bed, 3-bath, 2-car garage, set on 400. I think it's
Just under 400.
Just under 400 square metres. So great buying. There's some really good opportunities. We've got some really good listings coming on, and we're excited.
We're excited. Now, main topic of conversation. Now, over the weekend, at a seller who's looking to buy. So they're local. They're in Frankston. Walks through. You've got all the other buyers there. It's a pretty busy open. She asked for the price guide in front of everyone. I tell her the price guide. She goes, wow, that's expensive. That's so much. Why would I buy that? Why would I pay that? One, I had, our ability to defend and negotiate, our owner's position is our job.
Yeah.
Every day of the week. So we justify why we price properties at market value. We're not just going to put a price on a ridiculous high price. But this owner is a seller in the neighborhood.
You mean that person was
an owner in the same neighborhood. She's also looking to buy, so she's trying to sell her place eventually when she does.
Yeah.
But she's going through and talking this area, going, why would I pay so much? It's such a busy road. She's going out and negatively preaching about this property in front of all the other buyers.
Yeah.
And my big concern is there's a lot of sellers out there and a lot of people that actually do it. If you are a neighbor and you go into a property and you start pulling on all the negatives and saying it out loud, buyers take this stuff very seriously. Yeah. It is that old adage. If you have I don't know, you've had some amazing...
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Why do you reckon the reasons why a neighbour would do a thing like that? What do you?
Well, unless they don't like the person.
Yeah, that's definitely. I've encountered that over my 25 years. I've had that exact experience where a neighbour across the road had a falling out. They were friends. When we did the open for inspection, they came in when it was full and made a mockery of, and we had to sort of, I had to get quickly onto that because my assistant at the time said, there's someone here that's not doing the right thing. So I sort of politely said, hey, you need to remove and keep your comments quite, insular.
You've actually got some really good stories whilst you're on this and whilst we're talking about neighbours, the beautiful neighbours at Frankston. Can you talk? Oh wait, was that the property at Seaford, the one that you got your mic stand kicked over and your flag stolen?
That made the newspaper and the leader. That was back in 2016, I think it was. That was a local. That was I was calling an auction. There was two buyers going head to head, and this guy just happened to, she actually parked herself in between and started bidding, and I had to stop the auction, which stopped the momentum. But in saying that, the two buyers were understanding of the situation. And then when I said, look, I'm sorry, I can't take your bid, she wasn't too pleased. And then as I sort of pulled back and tried to stop the situation, back then you had the huge microphone, big stand, and she proceeded to kick that, kung fu it, and flew down, broke it, a couple of grand worth of damage there. And she grabbed my auction flag and proceeded to put it over her shoulder and walk off. So, look, people are strange. Some people are strange. I'm not
Have you found the flag? Have they
I never saw it.
Damn it.
And through the all the gear that I had, I just went back out. Look, we had to redo it. But I have had some funny stories with.
Can you reveal the reverse kangaroo? So this is just what I had. No, we've gone, but this is about neighbours. If you actually own in the area,
all right,
and
so
you are,
I'm gonna give you a tip. If you're an owner, and this is what I say to clients, guys, do you have any neighbours that may be of, let's say, troublesome for you, whether it be a tenant or a past neighbour that you were friends with? We've had some situations where they'll say, yeah, look, we don't want those people across the road. We were friends with them. We had a falling out. They're idiots, blah, blah, blah. And you go, okay, no worries. Well, look, we'll take photo ID. We'll make sure that the people there that you have requested not to come through, we'll make sure that they don't. Now, as a public open, it's pretty hard to sort of gauge. Some people can sneak in, as you know.
It's also really hard when if you've got a big crowd.
If you've got a big crowd.
If you are selling your property, you want a big crowd. That is a fact of the matter. But it's hard to stop someone if they're just trying to run on by and then they go, I'm meeting such and such inside.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're a bit like, oh,
well, that's where we're like a bull to go. I'll say, excuse me, you can't go in. What are you doing? Like, we need your details. Oh, yeah, I'm with that. No, please give us your details. We're onto that. But we are very cautious of how they look like. What can you give us a bit of a description of what they look like so that we know? And when we're at the property, we're always analysing and scoping in anything. But anyway,
what's like people when they have huge bags or backpacks on them?
Yeah, backpacks.
It's like, we just say, guys, we don't
politely,
really want
we don't
people
want
to steal stuff, and we're not assuming that would happen. And you never make the assumption, but we've got to also just protect and know that if you've got a huge backpack on, there's valuables, there's belongings inside. Don't bring it in. But can you tell me about the reverse?
Getting back to the story with regards to probably one of the funniest situations, we had a client that was in a really good estate at the time. It was in Tarney Lodge, and a lot of young families. I think the kids had a bit of a falling out, so the parents were best friends, all of a sudden no longer friends. So anyway, we're doing this inspection. And on the listing presentation, I said, look, what time would you prefer? He said, look, I'd like this time because it's really, it accentuates more natural light. It's around that time, and it will make the living areas look better. So anyway, we proceeded to do that. He said, by the way, I don't want that guy to come across the road. If he does, please reject him. And I said, look, we'll do our best, no problem. What does he look like? So he had long sideburns, and this is going back about, I reckon, 15, 16 years ago.
I was going to say, who's rocking that nowadays?
He was rocking back. He had the massive sideburns. Anyway, we've set up. Everything's fine. Anyway, it was a long home, so large house. So you had the down, like at the front of the home, as you would, you'd have the garage on one side, master bedroom, ensuite to the left. Sorry, to the right. Garage. So you walk in, living area, and then it sunken down, and it had a huge living area and the bedrooms on the west wing. Anyway,
great layout, if you ask me.
Great layout, really, really, really good layout. Single story, except for the sunken into the kitchen lounge area. So anyway, it's right on 28 past 1. So we're doing open 1 to 1:30. So we do you'll get this always. People rock up. Oh, we thought it was 1:30.
Oh, pet hates have really. Oh, yeah, we had it on the day. We had 10 to 10:30.
Yeah,
can we get there at 10:30, 10:35? No, we actually can't.
We're on a train line. We're on a station. We're going from boom, boom. We got next. And so anyway, I've walked down to help my assistant at the back, and she was setting up, packing all the stuff up. And I could hear the screen door just opened up. And I turned around. I saw a gentleman just sort of walk into the master bedroom. And I said, "Excuse me," and he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Nah, just be real quick, mate. I'm just having a quick look, and I'll no worries." I said, "Yeah, we're just going to set up. We'll get your details on the way out." Anyway, we're setting up as we go. Like I've walked up to the front. The guy's just quickly exited out of he's come out of the master, and he goes, "Oh, g'day, how you going?" And he goes, I said, "Oh, can I give you details?" And he said, "No, look, this house isn't for me." And he goes, "But thanks anyway." And had a bit of a sly grin on his face, and I didn't think anything of it. So anyway, as we do, you go to all the bedrooms, bathrooms, turn all the lights off, did all that. And look, he was probably maximum in there for maybe a minute. So anyway, my next open, I've gone from 1 to 1:30. At 2 o'clock to 2:30, I'm at a property, and it's 2 o'clock to 2:30. In between my opens, I always try and get if I can, and I try to do this, if I can call my clients or even talk to them as they open. Hey guys, we had X amount of groups through, good interest or no interest, blah, blah, blah. But just give them some, all the hard work that they've done. Anyway, I left a message for the guy, and it's 2 o'clock. We've got the auction at 2:30. Being the auctioneer, I got my phone on, and it's 2:30, and I could feel my leg buzzing because I've turned it on silent, my phone. And I looked down and realised it's the owner that I just came from anyway. I'm talking to the owners about, we're about to call this auction. And this guy was unrelentless. He wouldn't stop. He rang me 5 times non-stop, boom, 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 boom. So I just said to the clients, look, guys, we're going to have to – can I just stop? I've got to grab this call. Looks like it's urgent. So I picked it up. Hello? One. It's let's say it's, what can I say? It's Rob. I said, "Hey, Rob, how are you? Look, you got my message?" Yep. But mate, I've come back, and what the hell's going on? Who's been in my ensuite? I said, what do you mean, Rob? I don't know what you're talking about. And he goes, "Someone's done a reverse kanga." I said, "What's a reverse kanga?" Now I knew what a reverse kanga. When you're sitting down on a toilet bowl, you sit down plonk. This is you turn around. Someone's actually done a poo that looks like a tail that landed in the porcelain bowl. And didn't even wipe. It wasn't like they wiped. So this guy's and he took a picture. He sent it to me. It looked like I thought, geez, this guy must have had 5 super lucky the night before. And the size
he was
of it
ready for it.
I reckon he planned it right on.
He was like, "I'm ready."
He was ready, and I told him what the guy looked like, and it was his neighbour. He was furious. Now, I had to say to him, "Look, Rob, I've got to call an auction. I'll chat to you." After that, I went around, saw him. And
That would have been a shitty time.
And pardon the pun. But let me just say that guy was ropeable. And I said, look, I didn't see the guy as I walked in. Clearly, he came in right at the tail end of the open and proceeded. We didn't get his details, but this is what he looked like. He was roughly this height, sideburns, wearing a north-facing jacket, blah blah blah. And he said, he goes, no, that's that prick. Anyway, when he left, I think he left. I think he got some payback. I think he waited for they had a dog, big German Shepherd, and apparently he'd got all the poos and just plonked it all on his front lawn. So all I can say is there is always a bit of love and war in the neighbourhood, but fortunately, you know that's probably the most severe one that I've seen, or most funny.
That's fun. That's not impacting any buyers. At least he didn't.
No,
do it.
he didn't impact the buyer.
Perfection.
He did it. We see it often where
I haven't seen that often.
I've seen where people. I could tell you, I've been in a property where the neighbours have had. There could be a feud between the neighbours, whether it be the fence not getting done, and then the next door neighbour, and they go, "Oh, he's an idiot," da da da. But they're selling, and
especially for new development, like anyone's that renovate and then put up like 2 blocks, like they make 2 lots, and then you have, that person was
that guy was an idiot,
and they just don't want to see them.
They don't want to see him succeed. So to me, look, as soon as I get a sense of their negativity, I try and usher them away from the crowd. And
I notice you're very good at that. You're almost like the silent assassin. You just walk away. It's like, just.
What do you mean?
You do like it's like it's like vanish. But you don't do it in a mean way. It's just you diffuse. It's like you leave the conversation so subtly, but.
I'll be brutal. I'll be brutally honest and help out my look. Ultimately, we're there to get the clients, and we've had some situations where we've got a second or third inspection coming through the open, and then someone comes in and says, "Oh, who would want to be paying this? This is shit." And I'm like, "Mate, you live 2 doors down, mate. The more this goes for, the better it is for you." Yeah, like. Or have you got
That's the funny thing. A lot of agents will go off recent sales to justify a price in a property.
But there's also other factors. It could be that a sister or brother wants to buy the property.
Correct.
And
They've
they
got a
try
motivation.
There's motivation. There's always
a lot of buyers some buyers will go in and actually say bad things and negative things about it just to scare off other buyers. So don't let that fear you. This is the memo of it is everyone's playing their own little game. They've got their own good cop, the good cop, bad cop. Yep. You've got the neighbour who might hate the owner. You've got people shitting in toilets for no reason.
And there's people that will just try and sabotage it. Like we've had some that have tried to sabotage. And we had an auction where
you've got old mate Karen blowing out candles.
We've had people that have just been idiots. But whenever for example, we had one where it was quite an interesting one. We didn't realise it was a dispute between siblings, and one of the siblings was in the property, and it was a deceased estate, believe it or not. So they're all going to profit, but one of them was quite rich. And he didn't care. He wanted to piss off he didn't care. He actually wanted to go for lower because he wanted to buy it. Right, so he came in and made a big hoo-ha, and we end up saying we sat down with the executor of the estate and said, look, you've got 2 siblings and you're the executor. There's some issues here. So if we do a public auction, this is what could happen. And it's up to you what you want to do. But you've got conflict between family and feuding. I think it's best to do an in-house auction, which we did. We got the registered buyers in, and we sold it that way. So look, people are strange. They're going to do some strange things, especially if.
So in light of that, no property's the same because you're dealing with people.
You're dealing with people.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
And look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I always like to get their opinion after the event. So when and that's where some rookie agents, and we've spoken about this. We talk about the positives. It's always good to be positive about the property and have a good vibe in the place. Sometimes you'll get some real negative energy.
Don't get me wrong. I do think that if there is a negative, you point it out straight away, and then you can go, but that's why we've priced it this way.
Like that's right. And that's where and there's always going to be, you've priced it too low because I'm like, well, hang on. If that needs 40 grand worth of work and it was worth 850, we're now quoting it around that sort of 785 to sort of 815. We're somewhere in there because we could put it on at 850 to 900, but it needs that much work.
Yeah, correct.
So, that you're never going to please everyone. And I know that for a fact. In my 25 years of doing this, if you try and please every single person, you're going to be disappointed.
Well, we did the math. We met over 2,000 buyers last year.
Yeah.
42 bought off us.
Yeah.
So we were never going to ever please
and we guided. I reckon we guided. I reckon we guided probably close to 50 to 70 groups of those to go and buy our position and said, "Look, I think that's a really good buy." And they've pushed. They said, "Oh, the agent, was saying this," and I'm like, if that's what the owners are wanting to achieve, well, you may have to pay that based on some of the results that we've had. That seems only fair. If anything, you're getting a good buy. So yeah.
I think that sums up today's Selling Frankston. Yeah.
Cool.
Would you?
Yeah, I think we can conclude that. Yep. Easy done.
You've got meetings to get to.
Yes.
Business to conduct.
You're
going to the merch property of the week.
Yes.
To do an inspection.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Now, if you aren't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications and follow us on our socials. We're putting out little snippets which are more useful and helpful if you don't just want to sit here and watch 40 odd minutes. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.
See you then. Bye.